Hello and welcome back to another Volley Rally. Today we wanted to introduce another one of our team members here, Sadie Timmons. Sadie, how's it going today?
Good, Jake. How about you?
Doing very well. Excited to have you on and to talk about one of the more important things that your team handles is the actual customer onboarding.
Mhm.
And to that end, want to talk about how we really try to do a lot of the heavy lifting so that our clients can just kind of smile and dial as we were, as you'd say. But can you talk a little bit about who you are and what your role is in Volley?
Yeah, for sure. Name is Sadie. I know Jake just said that. So I'm a launch coordinator and account manager for the CS team. So kind of my role is to help new accounts get going, help them transition, train them, and then long-term support within their account.
So then when we have a new account that needs to get launched, what is the process of getting them launched with Volley?
Yeah, typically takes a few weeks. It depends on what your account will be running. If you're specializing in sales, service, maybe both. And so typically we'll start with an introduction call, and our team has a checklist of different items that we'll want to cover to help start to build your account out. And everything that our CS reps have access to in the application, your main point of contact, so your manager will as well. But at the beginning, our team will do all the setup for you. That way it's an easy, smooth transition for you guys. And then we'll kind of talk through those different key pieces again to start getting your account built out, which typically takes, 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how complicated your setup is. And then we'll work on agent training from there. And then once everyone's comfortable, we'll set a go live date.
When you said, and this is something that we've said within the Volley team a lot, when you say that we do the heavy lifting for our customers, what does that mean? What do you mean by heavy lifting?
Yeah, so we'll do all the campaign setup. We have sample templates, or whether that's, phone scripts, text templates, same with like campaign cadences. So whether that's you're using kind of our default setup to start, or if you guys already have processes in place within your BDC that you want us to mirror. So we'll kind of consume all of that knowledge there, and then we'll replicate that in Volley. So we'll build out all the campaigns, all the different environments for your agents, so your different stores, and also consume any, cheat sheets your team has, reference guides, and so forth. So we do all the setup and the preparation for you.
The setup and the preparation in the application, you mean?
Yes.
The
Yep.
the the customer, the teams there need to fill out the checklist, get you the campaign information, who they want to dial on, how often they want to dial, et cetera. And then your team is going to go ahead and build those out in the system. So they don't need to be a Volley expert, on the back end day one, right?
Correct. And it could be, I mean, we've had accounts that, we've been doing this for a bit. I mean, I've been with Volley for a few years. We have a couple of reps that have as well. So we've seen kind of some tips and tricks as well. I've had accounts come to me saying, day one, just want to mirror what processes you have in place today. Or I've also had accounts, we can kind of give our feedback and kind of help from what we see is working well with other accounts, kind of help you establish that within your BDC day one from being live with Volley.
What are the usual concerns that you see people bring up when launching Volley?
A lot of, I guess, the main concerns is agent feedback. And so we do all the training, whether it's, a couple groups, or if, depending on how large your team is. So making sure that you guys can get trained while you're still kind of transitioning. That way, if we don't have to take all your BDC agents off the phone at the same time. So we'll make sure to kind of schedule that around you guys. And then also kind of the big other thing that comes up is agent compensation. So we want to help you and not necessarily change how you guys compensate your agents. And so we typically ask for if you have a certain payment plan, review that with us, and that way we can tell you and point you in the right direction to our reports in Volie to make sure that, that doesn't affect, how the agents get paid.
What does that training call normally look like? Can you walk me through how long does it take? What are you typically talking about with the agents? What are you showing them?
Yeah, so agent training typically takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. We'll walk through, your CS rep would share their screen, walk through the different pages within the communication center. So this is how they log in. This is how they jump to the call screen and get served their first customer. They'll walk through the different tools within that page. Here's how you see their sales and service history. If you need to reference their communication history, this is where that lives. And we'll show you, after we kind of go through the layout, this is what a live phone call looks like. And we'll call ourselves and kind of talk you through the different actions your agents will need to do. What's nice about our call screen is it is repetitive. The screens don't change that much. So after the training, we typically ask the BDC manager, we'll make sure we get all the agents set up and their invitations sent, and then we'll set up a training environment for them. That way they can make, practice calls, test calls. And it's just, if I was your rep, it'd just be my phone number. That way you don't need to test with live customers, but that way they can get a feel for, how they would move about their communications throughout the day.
This last thing is a little outside of the scope of onboarding, but one of the things that we always talk about is how a customer, our customers have dedicated account managers who are going to work with them in the long run, to try to help them be successful with their BDC. So can you just take a minute and talk about what that relationship looks like and how you and your team work with the customers down the road after launch?
Yeah, for sure. So, of course, launch day, you and your rep will be in constant communication, making sure that everything's switched and transitioned over. From there, we typically like to meet with our new accounts weekly, at least for the beginning, while your team gets comfortable. And like I said earlier, your main point of contact, your manager, will have access to everything, I would, or your CS rep would. So long-term, we'll go, answering any questions that have come up, since launch, training you on different pieces of the application. So if you wanted to update a script, or if you wanted to load a new recall list, we would show you how you could do that on your own. And then also too, we'll dig into some reporting with you, and help you kind of look at different metrics and benchmarks there. And then we kind of can tell, based on your type of account, we can tell you what's standard, what we're seeing across the board, and or what our other accounts shoot for as far as goals. So that can be, weekly or once you're more comfortable. Some of my accounts would switch to every other week.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about it is, Sadie's, of course, one of the team members on the customer success team, and as she said, my account, you're going to be working with the same person who's going to know your business. You're not going to need to hop on a meeting every week with a new Volie person and explain to them, okay, so these are the campaigns we're working on. So one of the neat things that we're trying to do here is make it as frictionless and as easy as possible for our customers, because our team is going to know who you are, what your strategy is, and can work on that. Sadie, we appreciate the time, and it's great getting to introduce you. And any last minute thoughts here before we close this out?
I guess only other thing, just last to comment on what Jacob said. I've been with Volie for 3 years, and so I've had some accounts for, that has been my account for about 2 to 3 years. So you really get to know your account rep and vice versa. And it's awesome. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Sadie. Thanks, everyone, and have a fantastic day.
Yep. Thanks, Jay.